Did you know you have a chance of Googling your signs and symptoms and looking up a doctor? You have a chance of finding someone who's been practicing for a month or two and land on their hands. So, on to the Lindsay Clancy case. I have some notes here with me, and this is after listening in on a trial that was ongoing. There was a doctor on the stand, and I want us to discuss what was said, or just let you know what happened in case your day has been busy. I'm just going to summarize it for you bit by bit, not everything, but at least what I managed to capture. So there was a doctor on the stand testifying, and the prosecutor, is it Jennifer, was asking him some questions. So this is someone that works for the DA, the person that was testifying. And so one of the key things that he mentioned was that as a doctor, they try to manage the symptoms of patients. And in this case of Lindsay Clancy, we are talking about postpartum depression. So I'm just going to leave it at that. They try as much as possible to treat the symptoms. So there was an insinuation of Seroquel prescription, which was 400 milligrams. But then it turns out, according to the reports that was apparently presented, Lindsay never actually took the Seroquel. But we saw it in the previous episode that it was being Googled. So Seroquel of 400 milligrams was Googled and also was prescribed for Lindsay. However, reports say allegedly she never took the medication. So she was just weaned on it. And so something else I noticed was there was a dosage of 10 milligrams of Elavil, which was a drug that was prescribed to her. And 10 milligrams is a very small dosage. I believe the smallest there is of this specific drug. And however, the doctor had to up the dose to 20 milligrams because Lindsay came up claiming that I believe she was she needed more of that, or maybe whatever it is that she was trying to treat, the symptoms were getting worse. Yeah. So and there was something that was said by the doctor on the stand is that 10 milligrams or 20 milligrams is totally a norm. It's a very normal dosage, which can as well be prescribed to children. So there was something. There's a rabbit hole that all of us want to I want us to go into. So there was questioning. There was something that the prosecutor was trying to prove, and it was the awareness of Lindsay's actions, and she was just trying to ask the doctor questions to prove that whatever she did, she was aware of, she was conscious, she understood, she was of sober mind. And so this was to determine whether Lindsay could tell right from wrong. And first of all, she denied suicidal ideation and harm towards others. And this I believe was for when she went to a visit to see a doctor. So first of all, the fact, so they were making claims that she knew right from wrong by if at all this was her, the searches of 3V and CVS prior to sending Patrick to go and run errands, they were saying that is very significant in this case because it proves that she knew what she was trying to do, and it's very significant. And then now the fact that everything, whatever happened when the strangulation, the murders happened, the fact that there was no witness in that environment or in that house, according to the doctor and the prosecution and the prosecutor, I believe they were trying to showcase that the fact that she knew she didn't want to have someone around to watch what was going on, and she just didn't want any witnesses. Do you think this makes any sense? Do let me know in the comment section. So she said that there was no delusions about her kids, and then there was nothing wrong with them, that they deserved to die. So this is information that Lindsay told a practitioner she may have gone to see. And then the phone call at 5:34 p.m. Do you remember when Patrick called Lindsay and then she did not pick the phone call, but a minute later she called him? So the fact that she was able to call Patrick back is proof that she knew what she was doing, she was in her sober mind, she knew right from wrong, and therefore she was aware. So, and there's another thing that they mentioned about the locking the doors. Something came up, and apparently Patrick's office door, which was the basement, that was locked, which is where allegedly the kids were found. And also the bedroom's door was locked. So her ability to lock those doors was perceived as awareness of her actions. And then do you remember when Patrick came into the house and then he went to the back to see her lying on the ground, paralyzed? So Patrick said that she tried to kill herself and then jumped out the window. And the fact that when Patrick asked her where the kids were, she was able to say they are in the basement, allegedly. That is also perceived as awareness of her own actions. So, and also the fact that this is also like awareness. The fact that she was able to drive to the pediatrician that morning and then back to the house clearly shows. Yeah. And then do you remember the testimony where it is alleged that Lindsay took the kids out to build a snowman and then managed to take a photo and then send it to her spouse? So that ability to do these activities shows she is aware. And then now allegedly she made meals that specific day in the house. So there's something that's quite conflicting. And I need you to maybe like comment on the comment section. The information that was given to the police or the EMS was that the kids had eaten during the day, but upon doing like an autopsy, the kids' stomachs were empty. So yeah, do what you would like to do with that kind of information. And then the fact that she didn't say she was in distress. And then she also didn't say that she had hallucinations. So, like, yeah. And then when she was confirming that she knew the medications, do you remember when allegedly Patrick left the house and she texted her the medication? And then when Patrick called her, she didn't pick. And then she called him to probably confirm the medication. That shows awareness, according to the prosecution and the doctor. So the doctor's conclusion was that Lindsay was criminally responsible. Yeah. So we're going to now go to the next thing. So this is where Reddington comes in. Kevin Reddington comes in to ask the doctor questions. The same doctor, just to build on what they've been trying to do all along, especially because he's been a big part of this investigation. So the first thing that came out is that this doctor conducted an investigation through Zoom meeting, the online platform Zoom. So the investigation he conducted by Zoom. So, and then something that was mentioned is that there is a university that is getting paid for this witness being for him, like for this doctor being a witness for the district attorney, that is the DA. And then he said that he's testifying for a case that, well, not that he said, but rather you conducted like this investigation via Zoom meeting. This whole ordeal occurred in January 24 of 2023. You can remember all these details that occurred here, and so you're here in 2026 testifying for something that took place in the year 2023. So does that raise a red flag for you, or does it not? Also, the ability to remember. Let me just ask you a simple question. What did you wear yesterday, or what did you do last week? Can you recount what you did on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday last week? Let's just say, what did you do on Wednesday last week? Do you have a recollection of memory of that? So this is it. This is like almost 4 years later, and here we are. And so, according to what he confirmed, is that other doctors were also hired to evaluate Lindsay. So, and also for this specific doctor, when he came on the stand, he whether on Zoom or physically, he mentioned that he normally sees his clients, or rather his patients. But the thing is, he doesn't have a physical office. So he doesn't have like a private facility or office where he sees his patients. And so, according to him, he sees the patients in prison. Like he sees the patients in prison, because I believe he works for the state. So, and take an example, a prison in Virginia. So, because that is where he goes to like evaluate patients. So we're going to also state the fact that I stated that he works for the state, and there's something that Reddington threw in there, and you're going to see it as we progress. And this man, that is also a doctor, has been a forensic psychiatric evaluator. I'm sorry. And according to his resume, that is his like in 2019 to present, he has been employed as a forensic psychiatric evaluator for the U.S. Bureau of Prisons. And I may have got these wrong, but I believe he mentioned he has evaluated 2 cases so far. Maybe cases in reference to Lindsay's situation. I may have gotten that wrong, but do let me know in the comment section what you think. And then according to this guy's resume, from when he started his involvement with the state, it's clear that he's been working for the government rather for a very long time. And Reddington mentioned something that he was also involved with the FBI, and at one time there's the moment that he confirmed that he has been involved with the FBI before, Reddington threw in a question asking him, so let me quote, so you're a government man? Yeah, we both know what that meant. And so there's also something worth noting. There was no thyroid test done on Lindsay. No thyroid test done on Lindsay whatsoever. And then there's something that came up that every time Lindsay got worse, complained of suffering insomnia, she went in, but the only thing that she got was more medication prescribed to her. What do you make of this? Is the healthcare system in your country, or for example, in my country, Kenya, do you think the healthcare system is failing us? Or do you think, in this case of Lindsay Clancy, the healthcare system in that specific country, the state, was failing her? Because if someone comes up and complains that they're experiencing worse and worse condition of what they've been complaining about, and you've been giving them medication, do you think it's fair to, like, on top of what they're taking, add more medication to it? Do you think the issue of postpartum depression is a joke to society? Do you think there's less awareness of it? And do you think we have limited resources to cater for women experiencing postpartum depression? Do let me know. So something else that came up in October, I believe that was in 2022. So in October, Lindsay went to send her mom a text of having very bad insomnia, and I believe this is the text where she's telling her, would you mind coming over to, like, stay with me because I'm having very bad insomnia. And she had this gut feeling that something bad was going to happen, and she just wanted her to come, so because she didn't even know how she would get over that day, or how that specific day would go about. So there's also someone that we need to mention, who's Dr. Tufts, and also a nurse practitioner, Rebecca Gelada. These are all people who are involved with Lindsay during her postpartum episodes, and she was going to them to basically get help. So one thing that also came up is the fact that Lindsay was not going shopping for doctors. She knew exactly what she kind of stuck to specific people, but when there was a recommendation to go see someone else, she did exactly that. We see her being portrayed as someone who was very much willing to seek and accept help. So when she Googled postpartum depression, she found a doctor who was practicing, and that is Dr. Tufts, and also later nurse practitioner Gelada comes into the picture. So in December, I believe that was in 2022, she was advised to go to a hospital in Rhode Island that dealt with postpartum depression. Can you imagine? And while at the facility, she was evaluated for 8 hours. So she stayed there for 8 hours, but then she was turned away on reason that another program was more appropriate for her. So she got a statement regarding medication, and then she went back to Dr. Tufts. And then she was very diligent in attending to recommendations from healthcare practitioners. She actually thought her brain was in the process of being damaged, or rather was already damaged, and then she complained of dark, intrusive thoughts. There's something worth noting as well. All these complaints of suicidal ideation was apparently voiced to her husband. So what this doctor, who's a witness of the DA that's on the stand, who apparently conducted the investigation via Zoom meeting, the kind of information that he has of what Lindsay said was what was said to Patrick. So it was hearsay. Yeah. What do you think about that? And then Lindsay called. Did you know, if you are unaware, there's actually a suicidal or self-harm helpline. So, and Lindsay took the step of calling a suicide or self-harm hotline twice, 2 times, to complain about suicide. What kind of response do you think she got? So they weren't responsive to her claims. Rather, she was referred to her dealers. I'm assuming doctors. As a witness, the doctor only remembers this from a document that he cannot even actually remember anything about. He said that he cannot remember this kind of information, but according to what he knows, or the little that he can recount, he must have read of it in a document somewhere. So yeah, I believe that's it. What do you make of what I just said? What do you think is really going to happen eventually? Because according to this information I've presented to you, we have the prosecution side and also Kevin Reddington's side. What do you make of this information? Do let me know in the comment section.